Being in family court with somebody is like being in a completely different world. You hear people say, well, if somebody does this, they're going to get in trouble. Or if they do that, they're going to put their job at risk, or they could go to jail. And then family court just excuses it. But like, who is going to get this person in trouble? Is it going to be their job? Is it going to be HR of their job? Is it going to be one of their coworkers actually does something or says something? Is the police actually going to identify what's going on? When nobody does, these people don't face any consequences. This is a comment left on one of my videos because I shared with all of you that my ex terminated my health insurance as I was going from our shared house to my dad's house, like 10 minutes away, because my dad was on hospice. The letter that I received from his work, which by the way is a very well-known company, I'm in a very small town and I would guarantee that everybody has heard of this company. I received a letter from that company at my dad's house. I still actually have the letter that says, sorry for your divorce, and then gave me offers for Cobra. I was really confused because one, we weren't even married. So that means that he lied to his work, his place of employment, and told them that we were married. I don't know how he's able to do that. I didn't sign anything. This man quite literally just signed me up for things. And I remember asking him, why did you do this? Like, what the fuck is this? And he said, oh, you can't have my health insurance. You can't be on my health insurance if we don't live together. And you moved out. And I didn't even move out. That's the other thing. I was still going back and forth from the homes. And I had just filed a temporary restraining order because of multiple things that he did to me. I also filed that restraining order because my therapist, who met him because I had to have therapy at the house, told me to file that restraining order. On top of that, my ex, who still works at this company, told his employees, so he's the manager, and he told his assistant manager, for one, that I had postpartum depression, which I actually have never been diagnosed with. He also involved another employee. In addition to that, he had inappropriate conversations with another employee who 2 out of 3 of the ones that I just told you about were women. And when I filed my temporary restraining order, and after I moved like 5 hours away, this was very far from this man, and a month later, this man then filed a temporary restraining order on me. I believe he used this as a tool to convince me to drop mine and essentially intimidate me into dropping mine, because about, 3 months after I left this man, he was begging me back and was sitting there in counseling. I don't know why I went to counseling with him, but that's another conversation, telling me that I ruined a family vacation with his family because I wouldn't go with him. That's not somebody who is scared. This man spent a whole year begging me back. Anyways, back to his employees, which keep in mind the power dynamic there. This is their boss telling them to do this. One man wrote in essentially like a character letter, almost writing as if my ex is not abusive, like my therapist witnessed, saying that he's a good dad because he saw my ex hug my oldest child. That was his example of my ex not being abusive. Again, the assistant manager, I don't know if she currently still is, wrote in a letter saying that essentially I'm like unstable because I had postpartum depression. Again, that was something that my ex made up to tell her, which she shouldn't know my business or any diagnosis or possible diagnosis anyways. Also keep in mind that woman had just had a child herself. So here was a woman who couldn't even say, you know what, she probably is struggling because I am too. And my ex knew all of her relationship issues and how horrible I think it's her husband now, I think they were engaged at the time, how horrible he was to her and how he wasn't helping her with the kids, because I knew all her business too. But anyways, those 2 employees, the assistant manager, female, and another employee who was a male, not only got the day off to go to this TRO hearing, which they didn't even testify, but when I had told my ex that this was really inappropriate and he should be ashamed and I should reach out to HR, he was trying to use that I was trying to get him fired. But all of these things that he was able to do through his job and still kept his job because I was too afraid to report it. 1, I didn't know that I could report the health insurance. 2, I did get scared to tell his employer about his employees, which I actually still have the documentation for. I can pull up their letters and they could potentially look at this. I'm sure that those 2 people don't work there anymore. But I was also told that if I interfere with his job, that would interfere with the child support. So I wasn't even sure what to do, but People do this often. So I'm glad that you're sharing this, like canceling health insurance without proof can cost the employer benefits, fines, and jail time. My ex has never gotten in trouble for anything that he did. And this is often why people do those things. Because who are you going to report to? You're going to go report to the job and then you get accused of firing them. You get accused of them losing their job and then they spin it that they're the victim. Family court is not logical. Family court doesn't see these nuances. And then as you're going through it, trying to explain those nuances is very hard to do when you're also trying to talk about what happened in the relationship. And then add in that my last parent was dying and I was an orphan. It was such an overwhelming time for me.